And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. 'Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black. And the vernacular that
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time, all that he said,
I know. We don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of
Yes.
notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want?
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
One of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
The entire Bible is about black people. Not only was Jesus black, but every character in the Bible seems to be black too. Yeah, Zephaniah and Jeremiah and Jebediah, those all aren't white people names, okay? And Jesus wasn't some tan, partially melanated Middle Eastern person either. I'm talking straight up black dude, okay? Even in the book of Revelation, when you get the vision of Daniel, he's describing someone with feet like burnt brass and white woolly hair, and we've got the deep running water voice with the red eyes, and you guys, he's black. The Jewish people are black people, like Kanye was right.
I was told welcome home because I'm Jewish. Every single person who's Jewish that steps off the plane, especially for their first time in Israel, is told welcome home. Let's just sit with that for a second. This right here, this is my actual ancestry. I am 88% Ashkenazi Jewish, and none of my ancestors are from the Middle East.
And Michael Brown, I am Caucasian, even though my last name is Brown. Michael Brown, I am Caucasian, even though my last name is Brown. Michael Brown, I am Caucasian.
Michael Brown, I am Caucasian.
You say, well, where did the name Ashkenazi came from? So, a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin.
Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin.
Michael Brown, I am Caucasian.
Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false, zero truth to it. Just study the history.
You can convert to Judaism. You can't convert to a blood family. You cannot convert to a race. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
So we're supposed to we're just being told that anti-Semitism is now criticizing Israel. Anti-Semitism is anything they want it to be. They can't even define it. They admit in this bill that they've passed through the House that there's really truly no actual protection for Jews, but they're just making it up as they go because they want to say, well, but Semites, which we shouldn't even be using that word anymore because most Jews who practice the religion of Judaism or who are culturally Jewish, even if they don't practice the Jewish religion, but they're culturally Jewish, like many are culturally Christian. Many of us celebrate Christmas, but we're not Christian. That's cultural Christianity. It is what it is, right? They can't define it. They're putting all these rules on us. We shouldn't even allow them to use the term anti-Semitism. It's not real. Most of these Jews are not Semites.
This story begins in October 1949, 1 year after Israel's formation. This is when Netanyahu was born, the second child of a historian. His paternal grandfather was a rabbi and a Zionist writer. His name was Nathan Milikowski. Later in life, he Hebraized his surname from Milikowski to Netanyahu, a name which means God has given.
This is Yair Netanyahu's DNA test that has been leaked. You can see right there his Y DNA is RM198. Descendants of RM198 come from Poland, Russia, Germany, and other European countries. Does this look Semitic to you? Does this look Middle Eastern?
And so when he's saying he's coming to redeem, while he would say, redeem Israel, O God, out of all their troubles. First thing they need to be redeemed at, more dangerous than Hamas, more dangerous than Muslim neighbors, are internal these, and there's another biblical name, these who say they are Jews and are not.
I was going to ask you about that. In Revelation 3:8, I think, I was going to ask you that question. Does that refer to this time, or can it refer to this time?
It can. It's Revelation 3:9. Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Yeah. And there's a different application for it.
That's what the Zionists did, except instead of a baseball team, they went to try to convince the Jews that the Jewish people are a nation, like France and like Spain. We'll get a land, that's Israel, that's our stadium. We'll get baseball bats and balls. We'll create a language. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language. They sat down to create a language.
They sat down to create a language.
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them. With the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
With the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact,
Want to say peace and blessings to you guys. I know that this is a different setting for what you guys are maybe used to seeing. I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inside my hotel room, and I decided to do a live. I know this is an unscheduled live. If the lighting or if my mic need to be adjusted, actually, I'm using this earplug here, so I don't have my normal microphone. So the quality is not going to be what you guys are used to or accustomed to. But before I get started, can you guys hear me clearly? Before I get started, can you guys hear me clearly? And also, do I need to turn on some additional lights here so that way you guys can clearly see me here? If so, type 1 or type your comments inside the comment section. All right. So let's see here. Into focus. I'll give some shout outs here in the process too. Let me see here. Let's see here. Into focus, or excuse me, in focus to see says everything good. Azariah said everything is good. Lakenia says everything good. My brother, Berean Scholar, holding things down. Family, subscribe to his channel. Great content, very consistent, high quality information that he is sharing on his channel. So let's go ahead and support him. And Berean Scholar, drop your link inside the comment section. You have a hammer, so I mean a wrench rather. So you could go ahead and update and post inside the comment section just to let everyone know about your YouTube channel. All right. So he says that I am good. Carrie Wright says I'm good. I'm doing this as shout outs too as we go through the list. All right. So Black Wire, thumbs up. Keith Dixon, Khan, thumbs up. I'm guessing that you are in agreement. Content in Yah agrees. Tanya Rich, shout outs to you, my sister. Hope all is well with you and appreciate it. The thumbs up, the yes, everything is good. Stacy Pullum, everything is good. Mr. The Original says everything is good. I want to say here, let's see here. Shalom family, thank you for showing up, Elder. Appreciate you, Abba Khan Jones. Really appreciate the love and support. Appreciate all of you guys because again, without you guys, we woke now, we would just be taking a walk by ourselves. So really appreciate you guys. All right, let's see here. Cedric Lewis says sound quality, sounds and looks great. Pastor Kelly, thumbs up. Really appreciate it. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out here to Ambush Predator. Thank you for the love and support. Family, let's show some love to Ambush Predator. Much respect from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. I am not religious, but I respect listening to this channel and others to get better understanding. Really appreciate the love and support, my brother. Really appreciate you. Hallelujah. All right. So let's see who else we have here. Jamelia Jackson. or should I say Jamil? Yeah, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Forgive me if I butcher your name, my sister Jamila Jackson. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Forgive me, like the old school would say, charge it to my head, not to my heart. D. James, you guys can hear clearly. Let's get a few more in. Let's get a few more shout outs here. Azariah says that the lighting is good. Into and focus to see again. You say we're good. Let's see who else we have here. Yaya said we good. Helen Baylor said that we good. Tanya Horton said we good. Shakar says we good. Trying to get as much as we can as the chat is starting to pick up a little. Rosalie said that we're good. Let's see here. Nora, let's see. Nora Bain. Shout outs to my sister Nora Bain holding it down in Pennsylvania. Really appreciate it. Everything is good. A few more here and then we'll get started. Let's see here. Doing life with Mama G says lighting and sound is good. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Yaquaba, shout outs to you. Thawadad to you. Thank you. Appreciate you as well. Let's see here. Ambush Predator said the sound and video is awesome. Everything is good. Appreciate it. Let's see here. And shout outs to Yahuwah is Judge. Good meeting you today. Daniel, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm telling you, we had a great time. Great time. We want to touch on that as well. I'm telling you, we had a great time. Great time, family. And we're going to touch on that and give you some history, a little history. Not going to give you too much. Not going to go to geek mode tonight. All right. But really appreciate you guys. And we had a blessed time. All right. Jamil. All right. My apologies. What kind of threw me off is seeing the IAL, because I'm used to seeing Jamil spelled either with the EL or IL. So I'm not used to seeing the IA. So that kind of threw me off. So my apologies again. Thank you for clarity. Really appreciate you. All right, let's see here. A couple of more, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, and I want to revisit this and really do a more in-depth study about Charleston, South Carolina. I have a lot of footage that I've recorded here years ago on several visits that I've made here. So it's a lot of history that many don't know about, know and understand. All right, but we're going to touch on it. All right, let's see a couple more. Let's see who else we have here. Sharonda, daughter of the Most High. We're good. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started, family. Really appreciate you guys for all the love and support. Thank you guys for getting We Woke Now channel to where it is. We know that we're still dealing with the suppression of the powers that be that own this platform. We know that they are making assertive efforts to ensure that we, to just ensure that we don't get this word out, because the word is out there. The word is getting out there. This awakening is worldwide. This awakening is worldwide, family. You know, as our brother up in Canada, we have people that's in different parts of Africa, the UK, people all the way to Australia. You know, I've gotten emails from Australia, you know, brothers and sisters that are excited about what we're doing today, you know, about this awakening. So even though it may seem as if, things are kind of hard, kind of rough, things are getting uglier for our community, is confirming the prophecies of how the Most High is going to restore his people, and they know it. So of course they're going to make an assertive effort to minimize or dumb down exactly what Yah is doing. So they know it. They know it, family. So I tell you, we had a great time, and I was just thinking about this earlier, and that's why you see this on the screen. Our captivity chess game. Let me say that again. Our captivity chess game. Shout outs to Methuselah Benyad tuning in from, let me see here. See, he's saying Hawaii is in the building. So shout outs to you. Really appreciate it. And if we have any others that are that's outside of the the United States that are here, feel free to drop inside the comment section where your location, and we'll start getting back to what we would do is, shout outs, just giving shout outs to our brothers and sisters that are around the world, because this awakening, we are scattered around the world, not just the United States. We are brothers and sisters that are scattered around the world. And I just want to make sure that I acknowledge you guys as well. All right. So in the future, just put your location, even for some of our brothers and sisters that are here, that are in the United States. Just put your state. If you don't feel comfortable with putting your city inside the comment section for privacy reasons, completely understand. Just let everyone that watch these videos, when they come back over, when they review this in the replay, they'll see that, hey, we are all over the world. Family, do you know how much of an impact that we have? I'm not sure if you guys understand the impact. See, the more we start waking up to understanding who we are, the more we start understanding our value. Let me say that again. The more that we start waking up, understanding who we are, the more we start understanding our value. See, that's the whole scheme, the agenda, part of the weapon, when you understand the crafty counsel that Psalms 83 talks about. When you start understanding slavery, when you understand actually transitioning from slavery, but when we start looking at our earlier communities, the communities that was burnt down during Red Summer, and the reason why they call it red, because it was so bloody, all the blood that was shed, they call it the race wars, but it wasn't a race war because we did not declare war on anyone. And also, technically, we are not a race. Let me say that again. I know that's going to mess up some people. We are not a race, right? The institution of race was created, in the 1700th century, 18th century by Johann Blumenbach, who was a Ashkenaz German anthropologist who created that off of no scientific equations. So they created this institution, created these racial constructs. Now, I know many will say, oh, it was one race. It was the human race. No matter how you try to contextualize this thing, guess what, family? Race as we see in this institution of race was not created. The Most High did not create it. It was created by man. And the whole purpose was to make sure that there is a distinction between the conqueror and those who they conquered. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it, family. I know that, I could go into a geek mode on this here, but I want to reiterate that point that the institution of race, is the issue here, and why we see a lot of issues with people understanding our identity. So again, we are the same people. I know many will use the term because of the institution of race, referring to ourselves as Black people, which is all fine, but I don't even like to use that color construct. And here's why: because we come in all shades. Black does not come in shades of black when you really understand the color black. Once you start diluting that color black, right, it starts taking on another term. But when we start understanding like auburn, ruddy, when we say dark, right, we come in all shades, right? That's part of the confusion. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But I want to say shout outs again to all the family here that's here. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, let's see here. Ambush Predator, another post here. Thank you for the love and support. But let me see here what is said here. Canada here, but my people are also from the U.S., the Carolinas, Virginias. They are shutting down site people to get research material from. They are burning the books again. Absolutely. It's going to get worse now that we have, this agenda, right? This revisionist thing that we see happening. Now that we see what's in the White House right now, you are going to see how history is going to be rewritten. It's going to be fast paced. They're going to start. They're going to really ramp it up amp it up with all what they're doing. So absolutely. So again, that's right, ambush predator, swarthy. We was also referred to as swarthy. Those are some of the terms. So let's go and get into it, family, because I want to share with you guys a little piece of history about Savannah, or should I say Charleston, South Carolina. And most of you guys may not know this, but Charleston, South Carolina is actually the sister city to Savannah, Georgia, right? I'll say it again. South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina is the sister city to Savannah, Georgia. We're going to deal with a little bit of this. And I'm not going to go into the history of like the Gullah people to give you proper clarity of what it means and how the other communities have used that to try to bring separation and division among us. Because truth be told, all of us are related. We're the same people. Gullah people, guess what? We are the same people. My grandmother chose not to use that phrase, that term, because she didn't like how it separated, brought separation. You know, on my father's side, on my mother's side, they did not like using that term because it gave the impression as if we are separate people. And that is one of the strategies that the oppressors have done with our community. Do the history on the Aboriginals when you start getting into the Native Americans, especially South Carolina, because they began to, when I say they, the Europeans, they began to create fake tribes, tribal names, and then place those tribal names inside newspaper articles to give the impression that those are the good Native Americans, and those are the ones that's very supportive of them, and you know, really bigging up those fake names, the fake communities that they created, just so that way they can cause division among the true Aboriginals of this country. Why? Because at that time, when you study the history, many, you know, like when you understand Charleston, I mean, not just Charleston, but South Carolina, during the time of slavery, let's go back to about the 18th century, 17th century, there was over 48,000 slaves being controlled by 5,000 people. Let me say that again. There was over 48,000 Negroes who was enslaved being controlled by 5,000 people. Actually, it was less than that if you do the studies of it. So they had to put this fake, and this is where you really want to get into fake news. This is why they was creating these fake news articles. That was so that way they can reassure those that was coming in, the Europeans that was making that transition to try to take advantage of the so-called opportunities. So that's what they did. They weaponized these terms for the Aboriginals or Native Americans or the indigenous, that I like to use indigenous more specifically than aboriginal. So that's what they did. And guess what? That's what they did even with some of the terms that you see that's placed on our within our community. You know, you see a divide when you hear that term Gullah people, because you have some when they say Gullah people as if, and I'm not saying all, as if when you say Gullah, that places you in a different class, that it's almost like, you know, saying the rest of the Negroes that are here are not special. We're not the same people, which we are. So I'm going to do a full teaching on that. You know, same thing when you start dealing with Caribbeans, when you start dealing with different communities, labels, titles, that's what's been used by the oppressors to bring further division among our community. What's different between South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, the Caribbean islands such as Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad? What's the difference between all the locations that I mentioned? The difference is some of our ancestors were dropped off at different ports than others. That's the only difference. Same people, but dropped off at different ports. Let me say that again. Same people, but we were dropped off at different ports. We're the same people. So this is why we have to understand this. This is a chess game. This is a chess game, family. And I'm going to prove this to you. I'm going to give you a little information tonight. We're not going to go too deep tonight because I got to get up early in the morning. I got some things I got to do, and I'll be hitting the road as well, heading back home. But before I get into that too, I want to say shout outs, man. Shout outs to our people for being resilient, for pressing. When we came up with the plan of targeting Charleston, South Carolina for the for this event that we had, the conference, we knew that it was going to be a lot of challenges and so forth, which there were so many challenges, a number of challenges. Shout outs to my cousin Benaiah Israel and the African Israelite Justice Foundation that did an incredible job in making this thing happen. Sister E, some of the others contributors that are there, really appreciate you guys. Did a great job. But this morning, let me just share this quick testimony with you guys. This morning, right? I got a phone call from my cousin Benaiah, and he was going over to the site where we were going to gather for Shabbat. And when he got over there, he discovered that there were floods. We didn't know, it was not, we didn't see it on the news reports or anything like that, but there was a rip tide that flooded that whole area. I'm going to see if I can show you the picture. I'm gonna put it in this presentation so you guys can see what we were facing, the obstacle that we faced early this morning. Let me see here, and let me download this picture here. I thought I had it here. I'm going to download it real quick so you guys can really get the full picture of what we were facing this morning. Let me see here. All right, I'm going to download this picture, and actually I'm going to, let me see it here. I'm going to put it inside my presentation here. All right. I'm just sending it to myself now. And I'm going to put it inside this presentation so you guys can get a glimpse of exactly, what transpired. I don't know what, I think it was a riptide, whatever you want to call it. That's not my area of expertise, but it is noted that there was a flood. And I'm going to show you what Benaiah came, what he came across, the things that came to his unexpected drive, his path en route to going out to the location. So let's see here before we get into it, deep into this lesson. Let me just show you, and I'm going to just share this testimony with you guys real quick. All right. Once it comes in, because I had to transition it over from my phone to here to my computer. So once it comes over, let me see here if it pulled over yet. If not, I'll do it a different way. But I want you guys just to kind of understand how we are just such a resilient people. And I just love what the Most High continue to do for us, because, it really proves that we're the people of the book, man. I mean, from how we press with this situation, and we could go over the historical aspect of us, of we as a people being the people of the book, and so many different obstacles that we had to deal with and overcome, and still overcoming as a people. So let me pull this up here. All right, let me see if I can put it. I downloaded too. Let me see here, folder. All right, let's pull this over so you guys can actually get a visual as we kind of build this up here. All right, let's see here. And let me know if you guys can see this. Let me see here first, making sure it's included in the presentation. All right. All right, so before we get started, here we go. There we go. Now I'm going to show you here. Can you guys see the screen here? And if you can see the image that's on your screen, type 1. If you can see the image on your screen, type 1. All right. So what you see on your screen, he's close to where we're going to, out to the beach where we're going to set up. And so when he called me and told me that it was flooded, he said, you know, and actually, no, it wasn't a high tide. It was actually a wave that came in that flooded not just this area, but the whole area. So it wasn't a high tide. The high tide wouldn't do this right here. So, but nevertheless, he's told me, he's like, hey, cuz he said it's flooded out here. He said all the roads, he tried alternate roads to get to here. He said it's all flooded. See, down this path here, this street here, probably 2 miles down, 2 or 3 more miles down is where we had to go to. But all of this area was flooded. So he said, when I asked him, I said, well, because I'm thinking like maybe a valve broke or something like that, a pipe burst. He said, no, he said, it looks like Katrina. I was like, really? So the solution initially was we may have to cancel Shabbat service. And I mentioned that, no, we can't do that. We can't cancel Shabbat because of the significance, just that in itself. If you understand, you guys understand Hebrew, that's been following this platform, that Shabbat means rest, but Shabbat also means celebrate. You could confirm that portion of the definition if you go to Leviticus chapter 23, and you'll see celebrate there. The actual Hebrew word is actually Shabbat, right? So here you see how everything was flooded, and the thought was canceling Shabbat. So then right after Benaiah called me, he said he was going to call me back, talk about it more as he get more information on it. Sister Ian, myself, and some of the others from the African Israelite Justice Foundation, we got on, if you want to call it, a bridge line to discuss what was going on. And I just said to them, I said, hey, we are not canceling Shabbat. Even if we have to find another location, or we just all show up on a corner and we just all just give the Most High praise. We witness on the corner. We will go into the evangelistic mode if we have to, but we cannot cancel Shabbat, right? So while I was talking to them, Benaiah called me back up, and to my surprise, and to his surprise, he said, cuz you're not going to believe it. I said, what happened? He said, do you know that there's a ton of people that's already there that's waiting? I said, really? He said, yeah. So our people did not allow this water, this flood, to hinder them from finding or pressing out to being resilient to go out and do the very thing that we set out to do. And we had a great turnout. We had well over a couple of hundred people that was out in the park and so forth. We had a great time, family. All right, babe. All right. People, we're back online here. My apologies. Got kicked out. You guys see it here. We already know what that's all about. So we're going to keep pressing here. So I'm not sure what you guys had caught, but let me go ahead and share my screen again. So if we get disconnected, don't disappear. I'll do whatever I need to do to get back on here. So we're back here. So let me put this back up here. That's not what I want. All right, let's get this back going. All right, so my apologies. Actually, I really couldn't do anything about it. All right. So family, so we're back up here. All right. It comes with the territory. We're going to keep pressing. See, that's what what I meant by resiliency. And that's in our DNA, because you guys could have easily just, checked out, but you guys remained here just to see if we can work through the issue that we're having here. And so that's the key, family. We are a people that, in spite of all what was handed, all the things that was thrown on our doorstep, laid at our feet in terms of suppression, we always found a way, from cardboard boxes, like I shared earlier today, to making the best out of whatever food we have, or even being given the scraps of the animals during slavery. We still were able to make the best out of every situation that we had. And when you read the scriptures, the Israelites that was one of the characteristics of the Israelites, the attributes, knowing how to make the best out of every situation. Every situation, family. And it was, like I said, today, I want to thank the Most High for our people having that hack inside our DNA, that we are going to make the best out of every situation. And again, family, did a great job, for all our brothers and sisters that pressed and did not allow, let me blow this up here, allow that water that you see there to hinder us from pressing out. Water, when you think about how water can cause confusion, right? Think about Israel when they came out of Egypt. Their first obstacle that they faced was water. Think about it. It was water. So when you think about Ezekiel 37 and you see the word very confused, right? Or very dry, in the ancient Hebrew, it'd be ma'ad yabash, right? Ma'ad means very, yabash, I'm saying it from an ancient Hebraic pronunciation, means confused. So Israel, we see very dry, is actually very confused. So when you see situations like this, including Exodus chapter 14, when the people saw the challenges of this water in front, right, it caused confusion. And normally confusion starts with leadership. So when we look here, our people did not allow this water, this obstacle, to cause confusion and to say, hey, you know what, I'm giving up. Pressed. And I thank all of you guys. And I'm going to upload a video clip of it probably over the next couple of days. But it was awesome, family. It was powerful. Just a tip of the iceberg of things to come. All right. I know I said a lot. I know we didn't get to the main portion of what I want to touch on, but we're getting ready to do it right now. Right, to give you clarity on my thoughts, right? When you look at this image here, and this is why I want to let you guys know, family, it's more than what you can ever imagine. That phrase, that term that you hear, playing chess while others are playing checkers. Family, they are playing chess. And most of us are not even playing checkers. Most of us are playing Connect Four. Let me say that again. There you go, ambush predator. You caught it. The entire city of South Carolina, South Carolina is actually a chessboard. Let me say that again. South Carolina is actually a chessboard. And what I'm going to do as we progress here, this is what I'll do. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to make some additional slides real quick, because I want you guys to understand, family. I want you guys to really understand Charleston, South Carolina, and not just Charleston, South Carolina, the scheme of what's happening to our people, it is a calculated chess match, a game to them. They know we the people of the book. They know, when I say they, these other communities, these so-called Abrahamic faiths, they know that we are the people of the book. They know it. So I'm going to put a couple more clips here, photos here. See, I took these images years ago, and I kept them for a reason. And Ambush Predator caught it right off the back, the two rooks. So I'm going to show you some. Let me show you the. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this image here. This is the bishop. All right. And let's see what the bishop looks like. All right. This is the bishop. Let me change these animations here so that way we don't have to go through this, each one of them. I want to do it this way. Family, I'm telling you, family, it's everything is calculated. Everything you see is calculated. So if you are standing at a certain angle, right, you will see, let me go back here. Let me see if it comes up here. Let's go back to the rooks. If you're standing at a certain angle, and I may have the angle on one of my slides here, you'll be able, photos here, you'll be able to see the rook, which is that church, that I believe it's a Roman Catholic church. You'll see that right through these two rooks. Now these are slave. This is slave auction, or should I say, the slave? What's the other term that they use? Slave market. Now, in the slave market extended all through the city here. These are actually slave quarters or dungeons that they stored our people in. But you see how now they're making so much money off of this. So what happens is these right here, right? If a slave ran away, guess what? They'll sound an alarm, and the alarm actually, they'll get signals from here, these towers and other places, and that will cause this right here, this cathedral or church and others to, and actually this is not the main one that I want to put up, it's a different one. They'll sound that bell here to let the entire city know that there's a runaway slave. That there's a runaway slave. Let me upload another image. I want to show you, family, this is an entire chessboard. I'm going to show you a key place too. This is a chessboard. This is a chessboard. Let me see here. Let's go to this important building down in the area. Let's go to this important building right here. I'm going to put this inside. These images are kind of large, so I didn't have a chance to clean it up. Can't do it. Let me see here. I can do it. Let me turn this around. All right. And let's stretch this out. Right now, let's go back to this image right here. That is the United States Customs House. Now, what you see in the back of the screen, this is actually the steps, the base of it. Let me give you another image here. I know I'm sharing images here, family, but I'm going to show you another image to prove my point, to bring home a point here, to show you that everything you see here is calculated. They know what they have done to our people. They know what they have done to our people. This is all a game to them. So let me show you another angle of this place here. I think this is a good one. Yeah. All right. So what you see here from the base, from this step all the way to this door here, let me zoom in. From this step right here, all the way to that last step, it's 33 steps, family. Let me say that again. From that first step all the way to the last step, 33 steps. Why is that important to know? Especially you guys that know and understand Freemasonry. We taught it here several times. So when you see here, 33 steps, I literally counted it. I walked up and counted it. I walked these steps and counted every step from this step all the way to the step going into this door. United States Custom. But now the other thing I want to turn your attention to, I'm not sure if you can see this base right here, this platform right here, this floor right here. I'm not sure if you can see this floor. But if you pay attention to it, you can see a little bit of the chessboard. Let's prove this. Let me give you the actual image of the chessboard, right? Even though it's inside the image itself, but let me give you the actual image far as unfiltered image so you can see the significance of what I'm sharing with you. Let's see here. All right, let's see if you guys can see this one. All right, you guys see that? That is that platform. That is the actual platform. That's the chessboard. That is the chessboard. That is the chessboard, family. But I'm not going to stop there, family. I am not going to stop there, because when me and Godfrey, that's my buddy, when me and Godfrey was doing this, going around the city 3 years ago, right? Godfrey, right? He saw some homes there. He point out some homes, and I brought it to his attention. I said, Godfrey, those homes right there, those homes will never be raided by the government. Will never be raided by law enforcement. He said, why? I said, if you pay attention to the structure of the home, each one of those homes are Masons. They're owned by Masons. He said, how do you know? And I started sharing with them the different symbols there, the architecture, the whole nine, and he was blown away. Family, that's what Charleston, South Carolina is built on. It's a chessboard. It's a chessboard. Also, you guys know matter of fact, let me go back here to this particular slide here so you guys can understand here where I'm going at with it. Let's go back to this slide right here. And I have another image. And matter of fact, if I go back to the customs building, that is right in front of the slave market. Now, this is a slave market, but the main slave market, the customs right in front of this customs building is the slave market. And right straight through the slave market, you can see the water where our ancestors would come, where the ships will port, and they would take our ancestors off those ships and take them right into the slave market. They still have hooks on some of the walls. Let me see if I can find it. They still have hooks on some of those walls. So I encourage you guys, if you're ever in this area, go visit. Because if you don't, you're doing a great disservice. Why? Because you're going to miss out on this information and the way that they are changing history. They're doing it fast, family. So let me see if I can show you the hook here. Let me show you a couple of hooks that are still on the walls. This tells you and shows you just how much a lack of respect they have for our community, because they don't care. They'll preserve, they'll have these images in front of us to further prove. And guess what? It's not like it's a national landmark or anything like that. This is not something that's in a museum. This is in a slave market right now. They dumped it down and made it into like a flea market where you have all different merchants here buying and selling. But the key is you will see these hooks right up on the wall. Let me see if I can go here. Let me see here. further proving that the prophecies are being a byword. Let me see if this image has it. If not, I'll show another image. Let me see. Yeah, I may have to zoom this in, but let's go ahead and show this image. All right. Oh, wrong one. Let me fast forward. All right, now I'm going to zoom in. Do you guys see that? I put my mouse over it. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? If you see that, type 1. That is the hooks, the things that they had our ancestors connected to, but yet we are being told that we need to get over it. That is, man, that is key when you start understanding chess. But telling us to get over it. Let me show you something else, because this is, another thing I want to highlight, because we talk about Egypt, and we know what that the prophecies about Egypt and the proper clarity. It's not what many would try to argue against, right? When you see Egypt in that text refers to bondage, right? So many will try to downplay or minimize that prophecy when it comes to us by saying, oh no, it said you're going to go back to a physical or literal Egypt. We know Egypt is spiritual in that text, because the Most High made it clear that physical Egypt would never have power over us ever again. But let's show and prove this prophecy right here. Let me see here. This is another angle. I don't want the time dial. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. You guys going to recognize this here. Let me show you this here. And these are photos that I've taken being out there. All right, let's go to another photo. You guys recognize that image there? This is in Charleston, South Carolina. The park, Battery Park, I believe is the name of the park. And that park was filled with them doing lynches. You'll see lynching trees all through it. $10 million homes. $10 million homes. And at the bottom of those homes, you'll see entries for our people. Entries that only our people were allowed to go into. We couldn't go into the main house. And this is dealing with, when we say our people, now we're dealing with those that they deem to be above, that the masses main Negro or head Negro of his slaves will be there. So this is what is also called the Cleopatra needle. You see images of Egypt here. You see it, it's right there. It's right here. You'll see it at Vatican City, right at the center. Actually, that entire area, you'll see it looks like a compass, a Messianic compass. Family is right in your face, but the key is, because we have been dumbed down in terms of understanding history, we've been allowing the over time the erosion of the importance of knowing history. Because if you don't understand history, and we don't have anyone trying to make sure history is not rewrote or revised in our face, man, before you know it, you have people think that what's his name, Justin Timberlake, started coming to America before you know it. Family, it's in our face. So let me see if I have one more image I'll share with you guys now, and I'll do a couple more things here. Let me show you another thing that I have video footage of me doing this, right? Let me show you one more thing. Having me interacting with a tour where the people actually thought that I was one of the tour guys, because I discovered something. They asked me a question, and before you know, I had crowds of people asking me about what I discovered. Let me show you just how brutal these people are. And I'm saying are because it's still the presence, because they are making so much money. It's a $1 billion industry in Charleston, South Carolina. And the people that are making the money off of it is the people that have oppressed us, the people that have enslaved us. And I want to give you an understanding of who some of the people are in a second here. Let me show you something here. I think I took pictures here. I know I have it on video camera. Actually, I'll just go ahead and show. I did video, but I'll just show you the screenshot, right? Let me show you this screenshot. I'm going to do 2 more, and then we'll get into another point I want to make. I'll show you one more thing in terms of the architectural designs of the homes, just so that way you guys get a visual what I stated earlier. But let me go here. I'm going to put this image here, and let me rotate it. You guys let me know if you can see this. All right, here we go. All right. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? As you can see this, type 1. So me and my wife, right? And matter of fact, I'll start with Godfrey. When I was with Godfrey confirmed something that I researched. He confirmed, he said, hey, if you go through these cities, you'll learn the truth about why you see these flower pots and why you see this. You see these flower pots under the window sills. You see down at the bottom here, you see this protective rail, or not rail, but door here with the, it's metal, it's sealed. Well, let me share something with you guys. I went through the city, and Godfrey told me some places I can go. And this particular one right here, I took pictures of it. I got it on video camera. I actually went to this here, right? I looked inside this here with my camera zoomed in. And when you look at the bottom of this, you will see an access door. And I know some of you guys are saying, Pastor, but where are you going at with this? Do you know why they put these plants inside the windowsill? It's because down here is the dungeon, the cellar. Go figure, right? Call it cellar, right? The cellar, this is where they stored our ancestors. There was no ventilation. There was no AC or nothing like that. And even if it was, who cares? But because of the stench of the odor that would come out of here, these cellars, the whole area would smell. You look at this. You still see this is all still from our ancestors being held in these dungeons. So they placed these plants here to try to minimize the stench. So you wouldn't smell our ancestors who was being held prisoners in these dungeons here. So these plants over these windowsills served as their Febreze, so to speak. Make you think about why, when you deal with cars and the air conditioning, well, not the air conditioning, but the fragrance for, to make your car smell better, the Alpine, remember those, the Alpine things you hang over your rear view mirror, makes you think about, how did that come about? Is this the origin of having those fragrances, or, to change the smell of the scent of your car on the inside, hanging it up over a window, a piece of glass? Did it originate here? Come on, family. Brutal. And I got actual pictures and footage of me taking pictures of this here and showing, because people came up to me. They was like, what are you looking at? It was some nice white people that came up to me, Caucasians, and they were asking questions. And I gave them the history. I said, you see down there? I said, These are actually, and I explained just what I explained to you, and they were, I mean, literally, one older couple was two white ladies, right? They looked like they was about to cry. They couldn't believe it. I even had a tour guide who was touring with people. Their people saw me over here talking about this, and they came over to here. They thought that I was giving a tour because of me sharing the history. I had an Asian guy come up, and my wife, she was sitting in the car just out right in front of this. I'm like literally in front of my wife. She was sitting in the car when I was dealing with all of this, taking pictures. Let me show you one more thing, and then we'll do a couple of more things, and then we'll wrap it up, because I don't want to be up too late, because I do have to hit the road in the morning, not in the morning, but after our festivities. So I want to make sure that I'm in the right place. All right, let me show you one more slide here. Let me show you one more, so you get an understanding of the architectural designs. And guess what? This is not just with Charleston. You'll see some of these in the cities that you live in, as far as how they designed these homes. Let me show you. Let me see here. Let me show you this particular home. Family, this is an expensive home too. Let me show you here. Let me show you the townhomes. I'm not even going to get into the homes, but let me show you the townhomes. All right. Right? These are townhomes. These right now, these are like $3 to $5 million townhomes. These doors right here is the access doors for the slaves. Right? The top slaves. Right? But these are, whenever you see homes like this, especially if you go down to Charleston, a lot of these southern cities, you will see these smaller looking doors. They were put in place specifically for our ancestors. And I can show you another piece of history here. I'll show you this about some of the government buildings here that you'll see as well. Let me show you one more. I said, family, I visited these places. These are actual photos that I have taken, pictures that I have taken researching the city. But you're not going to hear many talk about this in other communities that's trying to tell us to get over our history. Matter of fact, I think this is the one that I want to show. Yeah, let me show this one. This is a government building. Let me zoom it in. I think it's another one I have here too. In this dungeon, this is where they kept our people. They kept our people in this dungeon underneath this federal, this government or state building, so to speak. Let me see if I have one more. I thought I had a better shot of that one. And then let me do a couple more things, and family, we're going to be out. Like back in the day, they used to say Audi 5000, right? Let's see here. I'll show two more because I want to show this here. This is a government building, right? I'm telling you, family, this is another government building. You see, these are where our ancestors were held at. This is all through the city of Charleston. You'll see this in Savannah, Georgia. You'll see this in Louisiana. You'll see this in Mississippi. You'll see these are dungeons. These are not like today, they call them crawl spaces. They're called them crawl spaces because, you know, many homes, when they build homes nowadays, you can have a crawl space to get your house up off the ground. So what that does is it makes it easier to access. Let's just say if a pipe burst, at least you wouldn't have to worry about it damaging your home because now you have your home up off the ground, right? But this is not a crawl space. This is a dungeon
where people, our ancestors, were actually stored, just like being in a slave ship. I mean, the ceilings, the roof of these things were like maybe 5 feet. So you couldn't stand up straight inside these places. Even if you could, it doesn't matter. But I want you guys to see that they all around. If you guys start paying attention, pay attention. Go into these cities, start paying attention to the architectural designs of these older homes, and it'll reveal everything to you. It's right in your face. It's right in your face. It's just that you got to know what to look for and understand how to look. And I guarantee you now, with what I share with you, you guys are going to look at things completely different. When you go down to these places, you're going to see things completely different. Let me see, is there one more that I want to share? Let's see, I thought I had one more. I think this is the home I was going to share. Let me see here. Yeah. Let me show you this home, family. This home is like almost a $10 million home. But look at the design. You see that smaller door right there? You see that smaller door right here? This is a 10 million, anywhere from $8 to $10 million home. Let me zoom in so you guys can understand and really get the visual. Look at that tiny door. Look like something off of like what's some of those cartoons? I can't think of that one cartoon, like Alice in Wonderland. That's what I was thinking of, like that, something out of that, man. That looked like some Alice in Wonderland with the tiny room, the tiny door. But our ancestors had to crawl into that. So family, it's all a game. It's all a game, a game that, man, most of us don't understand. Most of us don't understand. And let me give some shout outs real quick. I didn't realize that it was a number of contributions that came in. Let me go ahead and give some shout outs here. I want to say shout outs to Eddie True Love. Appreciate the love and support. Shout outs to you, Ambush Predator. Really appreciate the love and support. I see several contributions here. Really appreciate you, my brother. Thank you again for the love and support of this platform. Even as you stated, you may not understand all of this, but I really appreciate the love and support that you have shared here. The contributions aside, I just thank you for the support, and all of you. Hallelujah. Daughters of Yah, thank you for the super sticker. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? Cedric Lewis, thank you for the super sticker as well. All right. Really appreciate you, family. Really appreciate you. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go into another area I want to talk to you guys about, because I know that, many deal with the Nephilim. I know many of you guys hear people discussing the Nephilim. So I got to give you some clarity here, family, because I sit back and, certain discussions I don't touch on, because I know that many people really get into that Nephilim doctrine. And if you're not careful, you could get so consumed in it that, as we were warned not to do, you can start chasing fables. So I want to go and I want to touch on this, because I'm going here for a reason, and I'm going to touch on another piece of history and how this ties into the very people that have stolen our identity. Let me share with you here. Let's start with the Nephilims. All right. Are you guys familiar with the Nephilims? If not, I'm going to give you clarity for the Nephilims. We're going to use biblical context. I'm not going to go anywhere outside of the scripture for this, because we have to understand, when we deal with this subject, the scriptures is our primary source. Anything outside of this is secondary and third. You don't always use this as the primary source. And you guys know that's how we do it here.
Anyone that may come with you with a third-party source or a YouTube video, hey, watch this. No, ask that person, explain it to me. Is the primary source the scriptures, or are you going to give me some wild conspiracy theory type things? No, we're not doing that here. I'm just going to give you clarity. All right. And this is not to insult anyone, but this is to give you proper clarity. Let's start with this passage here. Genesis 9:27. Elohim, yours is say, Lord. Elohim shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Now, family, on the surface, I know many of you guys will probably look at it here and say, well, wait a minute. It looks like the Most High is blessing Japheth. Does it look like that, family? Does it look like in this passage, if you just read it on the surface, that the Most High is blessing Japheth? If you believe that on the surface, it does look like the Most High is blessing Japheth, type 1. And I'll read some of your responses. All right. Kevin B says no. All right. Appreciate it. Let's see who else. Type 1 for yes or 2 for no. Okay. Cedric Lewis says yes. Sister Rochelle said yes. Lorena says yes. Nora Bain says yes. Who else here? Mr. The Original says no. Pure Repentance says yes. Ephraim Ban Yasharala says no. Enlarge. Okay, we're going to give some clarity here. All right. Felicia, Sister Felicia says no. Ria says no. Jerry Carroll says no. Scott Watson says yes. Let's see here. Yiska Leanne says, always wondered about that. All right. And I'm going to give some clarity here. Let's see here. Macman says, I can see it being seen as a blessing. That's what he's saying here. So we can see it here. It can appear, if you read it on the surface, it can appear that this is a blessing that's being pronounced. But we're going to give clarity just so that way you can understand, and we put this in the proper context. All right. And if you haven't, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, family. I think that last I saw it, we was just probably about 20 subscribers short of going to 82,000, even though we know we should be much larger than that because of for our subscribers, because YouTube has been unsubscribing subscribers. So let me just say this real quick. If you are subscribed to the channel or believe you are still subscribed to the channel, double check to make sure you are still subscribed, because YouTube has been, they've been unsubscribing subscribers. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, hit that like button and click on the subscription button. Let's get us over 8,200 or 82,000, all right, subscribers. All right, but with that being said, all right, let's go and give clarity here so you guys understand what this means, and then you can see exactly what the text means. This is a prophetic text of what we see today. So what is the proper context of this prophecy? What is the meaning of enlarge? We see the Hebrew word patha, right? Patha, as you see here, means to be open, right? To open, in example B. We see here, but this is the key. In a sinister way, delude. And then we see with this, in a sinister way, allure, deceive, enlarge, entice, flatter, persuade, silly one. So we see in a sinister way, when you see enlarge in a sinister way, this means that the Most High allow, just like what we see, the Most High will allow certain things to play out. The Most High allow Japheth descendants to operate in this witchcraft, just like how the Most High allowed Hasatan to do certain things. Guess what? The Most High will allow certain things to happen to his people, so that way he can prove to his people who he is and who Hasatan is not. So as you see here, in a sinister way, delude. And within that sinister way, we see the colon, right? And it says here, allure, deceived, enlarge, entice, flatter, persuade, silly, silly one.
So connecting the historical roles of Japheth's descendants to the spiritual dynamics emphasizes how this enlargement through power and influence often occurred at the expense of Shem's descendants, manifesting in various forms of persecution, oppression, and spiritual subjugation. So this prophecy connects with the prophecy of the son of perdition. Let's go to the prophecy of son of perdition. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that the son of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Verse 4, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is Yahweh. You see how this connects to that prophecy about Japheth? So who do you see in the Catholic Christian Church and Judaism? What images do you see? Who and what images do you see in the Catholic Christian churches, Judaism, the so-called Abrahamic faiths? Whose images do you see? You don't see images of our people. You don't see you see the images of them, the very people who have oppressed us. What images do you see of Yahweh and his son Christ? What images do you see that they have created? See, the sons of Japheth understood the power of images and used this as part of its deception. Let me say that again. The sons of Japheth understood the power of images and used this as part of its deception. See, Israel loved the pretty pictures. Israel loved the big pages, the color books rather. We love the big print. Think about this, family. Think about it. Many of our brothers and sisters, they won't read books if they see it's nothing but text. But if they see some big pictures in it, then it makes it easier for them to read certain books. But nevertheless, right? Let's continue here. Let's go to 1 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. Look at what it says. And this is dealing with the Greeks. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes and laid open the book of law, right? The book of law. Now we're dealing with, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Those are the books of law. Those are the books of law. So laid open the book of law, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. So this is them trying to put their images, even in our perception of who's who, they're trying to paint their images inside our text, inside the artwork and things along that line. Not just artwork, but even how you process the scriptures and thinking about who's who. But we're not going to stop there. So according to the prophet Ezekiel, the heart of Israel, which is Jerusalem, became obsessed with the Assyrians and Chaldeans and defiled herself with idols and images of them. Look at this. Ezekiel 23, starting at verse 12. Look at what it says. This is going to sound familiar, right? When I break this down. It says she dotted upon the Assyrians, her neighbors, captains, rulers, clothed most gorgeously, horsemen riding upon horses, all of them desirable to young men. Doesn't it sound familiar? Now, if we want to parallel this to where we are today, think about what is being used to entice our young people. Flashy cars, clothing, jewelry, haircuts. Doesn't it sound familiar? Come on now, family, let's be real. Especially you guys came up in some of the rough areas I have come up, that I've come up in. You know, I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I lived in Detroit, Michigan. I lived in Harlem. I lived in some rough areas. But doesn't it sound very familiar, similar to what happened during the election cycle when you had people from Donald Trump team went to the projects of Atlanta, pulled up in a Rolls Royce with giving out MAGA hats to our brothers and sisters. Giving out MAGA hats to our brothers and sisters, and to encourage them to vote for Donald Trump. Did you guys see the videos? If you haven't seen it,
Go back and look at the last upload. I got a powerful upload I'm going to do once I get back home. Go back to the last upload that I did, and you will see how they use this right here. This passage right here. They use this passage right here, this scheme, to entice our brothers and sisters, not just in Atlanta, right across the country. Because it wasn't just the men, it was brothers and sisters, but they targeted the rough areas. But anyway, so again, she doted upon the Assyrians, her neighbors, captains, rulers, clothed most gorgeously, horsemen riding upon horses, all of them desirable young men. Then I saw that she was defiled, and it says that they took both one way, and that she increased her whoredom. For when she saw men portrayed upon the wall, the images of who? The Chaldeans, portrayed in vermilion. So many of us are caught up with this. We see this. This is how they are enticing our young people. So again, family, they know who we are. They know exactly who we are. Now, I didn't put it in here. I was going to go here with the Nephilim since I started off. Let me go ahead and close this thought out real quick. Let me bring the Nephilim over here real quick. Let me clean this up real quick, family. Did I bring it in here? I may not have included it here, but let me just touch on it a little bit if I have it. If not, I'll finish this thought up in a separate lesson titled They Know Who We Are, Can Contaminate the Seed. All right, let me see here. Let me just put a little bit of that here, because I need to knock this down real quick before I go to another thought here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this because I want to get to a key point, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, let me see here. All right, I'll start right here. The reason why I'm saying, man, some of these presentations that I do, you guys don't even see the fullness of it. These presentations are pretty detailed. Let me see here real quick. All right, let me go up a little bit. I think I went down. All right, let me copy this over. Let's deal a little bit with the Nephilim, and then we'll deal with one other thought, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, let me go here, because I want to get back to a key point about Charleston. All right, let's see here. Let me delete this. I'm just kind of cleaning my slide up so you guys can see this. All right. Because I want to make sure the right images are displayed. All right, we're almost there. And this is real quick to touch on the fallen angels, but I want to remove a couple of images here because I don't want it to give the wrong impression, like we're dealing with our people, because I'm not. When you see this image of the giants, the Nephilim, I want to make sure it has a certain image of, and when I say giants, it's not from a perspective of, large people, tall people. It's from tyrants perspective. All right, so a couple more slides I need to clean up, and then that'll be it. Let's clean this up. And let's take this slide out. All right, here we go. Now let's go to get clarity with the Nephilim. Let's start with Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. It says here, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, decked with gold and precious stones, pearls, having a golden cup in her hand of abominations and filthiness of her fornications. Upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. But we see here Babylon the Great. And let's focus on Babylon, right? Babylon, right? The ancient Hebrew word is Babal, right? And this word means confusion. But the key about this word, it says confusion by mixing. So I want you guys to make a note that one of the attributes of what this beast is, what this this group of people that is describing, religious people, whatever, is that they have one of their attributes is spreading confusion by way of mixing. And when you understand the Roman Catholic Church, they grew by using what is called syncretism. But anyway, what is the true agenda of the fallen angels? Why did Yahweh take action against the fallen angels and their seeds? So Genesis chapter 6, verse 4 gives us some information on this. It says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And then when we go to the Hebrew definition of this word giant, we see Nephil, right? And this is where you get the word Nephilim, which is the plurality of it, but Nephil, right? And so it means tyrant, bully, giant. The ancient Hebrew is not Paul. So this again, Nephil, right? So it means giants, but the key is bully, tyrants, because many are just focused on this here, giants, and really start thinking that, you had 45 feet giants, you know what I mean? But that's a whole nother discussion. But not Paul was not only used for the transliterated word giant, but also for bully and tyrant. And then we go to the primitive root word of this word. We see not Paul or not fall. It says to fall, cast. In other words, cast down, cast self, cast down self, cast out. So we get an idea of what this word means. So Nephilim just doesn't mean giant. It means bully. It means tyrant, but it also means fall away. Fall away. That's the key I want to hold on to for you guys to really anchor your thoughts with is fall away or falling away. All right. So as we see here, felling, throw down, to fall, be cast down. So think about falling away. So again, now Paul also means to fall, fallen away. Okay. So remember, right? This word was not only used for the word giant, but it was used for bully. It was used for tyrant, but we can also place in here fallen away. I'm making a point here. All right. So Josephus talks about the giants, but I'm not going to get into all of that. I really don't want to read all of that for the sake of time. But what happened to these seeds of the wicked angels? That's the question. What happened to them? The scripture makes it clear what happened to these seeds of these angels. Matthew 24, starting at verse 37, it says, but as the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man. For as in the 7 days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. But here's the kicker. And knew not until the flood came and took them away. Right? So this makes it clear that the flood came. No matter how you want to describe these people, and I know people would try to come up with all kinds of logic by saying, well, maybe they survived in the water. There was giant water. We're taking all of that away. That's interpolating exactly what the scripture says. All right. So again, the scriptures, Matthew 24, this is the words of Christ saying that knew not until the flood came and took who away? It said took all of them away. So there was no seeds. There was none of these people existing after the flood. No, they were not Noah or his sons or their wives. So again, the flood came and took them all away. So when we look at take away, let's see what take away means. It says to lift up, to take away, expiate, sin. But we see here, put away, remove, take away. Okay, so when we go to the Hebraic school of thought, nasak, it says to lift, burn, carry away, cast. Why is this important? I'm going to show you here. It says to be taken away. Okay, but why is this important? Why is this important? Let's go further here. I don't want to explain this here. That's why I'm fast forwarding for the sake of time. And I'm going to bring all this together. Are the sons of Anak and Og the same giants that existed prior to the flood? Right? If we're going to go on the premise and say that, hey, the sons of man and the sons of angels, the sons of the daughters of man and the daughters of angels mix and mingle, and they produce a giant hybrid being. So if we're going to go off of that, right, now the question is, did they still exist? Is Anak or Anak descendants of that? I'm going to prove to you no. Why? Because look at what 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 4 says. For if Yahweh spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, that's the key. Not only did it say the angels, right? The angels that have done these, committed these acts, says they are in chains, they are locked up. They're locked up. But let's deal with the old world. In other words, the descendants that they produce. Look at what it says, verse 5. And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. So we see that not a single fallen angel, nor did their offspring survive the flood. This confirms also that Noah and his wives were not descendants of the fallen angels. What gets lost in the discussion about the Nephilim, right, discussion is the agenda of the wicked angels, because we'll focus on how tall they are and all that other stuff. But guess what, family? The scriptures are clear. The Most High wiped them out. Those angels are locked up. But it also makes it clear that the descendants of them, guess what? They're gone. So are there tribes that are taller than other tribes? Are there tribes that are shorter than other tribes? Absolutely. It's not a surprise that we see 8-9 feet tall people in the scriptures, because guess what? You got, the Tutsis tribe, right? Tribe in Sudan, the average height of the person, they got people on the average height is like 6'8", 6'9", average. That someone that's 6'5", 6'6", they'll be short. They got people that's as tall as over 8 feet tall there. Does that mean that they're descendants of Nephilim? Absolutely not. That's the point I want to make, family. But again, what gets lost in the discussion about the Nephilim discussion is the agenda of the wicked angels. So the agenda of these wicked angels was to contaminate the seed of the woman. The angels were operating under the spirit of creating confusion by mixing, which is called Babal, as we covered earlier. So remember, Babal means confusion by mixing, right? So I said all that to say, now let's transition back to here, because I want to give you a little backdrop on that. The key with this Nephilim spirit is confusion by mixing. They operate in confusion to try to what? That's the agenda, to try to do what? Contaminate the chosen seed. We are the chosen seed. And we see how they've been trying to mix and mesh with our community. If you start looking at what the repeal of what's that naturalization bill when you're dealing with Britain, guess what? Part of that repeal was them. They were they made suggestions of Negro Israelites, men and women, if they wanted to become a citizen, they had to what? Marry someone from another race. If it was a brother man, he had to marry a European Caucasian woman. If it was a sister, she had to marry a European Caucasian man in order to gain citizenship. And that was the overall goal, was to what? Whitewash and what? Suppress and completely absorb our people. So we no longer depend and value our identity that we take on and value and push an identity that's foreign to us. That's where you start understanding naturalization. That is the Nephilim spirit, if you want to understand what the Nephilim spirit is, because falling away, when you see apostasy, it means to fall away. So that is part of what? The Nephilim spirit. So what? Causing us to what? Mingle and mix. Not just physically, but also embrace their cultures. All right, anyway. So what you see on the screen, because one of the things when you study about Charleston, South Carolina, most of you guys not familiar with this phrase, Little Jerusalem. Now, this is a one of these historical signs that has been placed here. And I'm going to read what's on the sign. I'm going to give you clarity because for some of you guys that may have been on Godfrey's Gullah Geechee tours, he mentions how Charleston, South Carolina was also called Jerusalem. But I want to give you a little more history on that because this is the sign here, and I want to show you what they say about Little Jerusalem. It reads, in the first decades of the 1900s, Jewish-owned stores clustered along King Street in an immigrant neighborhood sometimes called Little Jerusalem. Businesses here included furniture and dry goods stores, show repair, Zalkin Kosher, I think I messed this up. It's supposed to be shop repairs. My apologies, guys. Let me just read what's on here instead of here. Things that spell checker just messes up here. So it should be shop, but let me just read what's here. All right. So that way I won't butcher what's here. It says, in the first decades of the 1900s, Jewish-owned stores clustered along King Street in an immigrant neighborhood sometimes called Little Jerusalem. Businesses here include furniture, dry goods stores, shoe repair shops, Zalkin's kosher meat markets, and Mazo's deli. One early arrival, it says Russian-born Samuel L. Banov, right, Russian-born, ran a successful clothing store at 595 King Street and invested in real estate nearby, including 601 King Street, which he opened in 1919 as the Lincoln Theater. So what is the key businesses missing from this sign? What key businesses is missing from the sign? I'm not sure if you guys caught this, but you see a number of things here. You see, as it says here, you see grocery stores, you see delicatessens, you see meat markets, you see shoe stores. But what's missing from this sign? What's missing from the sign? What key business is missing from the sign? Can you guys guess it? Type the answer inside the comment section. If not, I'm going to reveal it anyway. All right. Queen Nanny Medical, the bank. Let's see here. All right. Vale Siha, excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Slavery. Guess what, family? I don't even have to go further than this. She hit it right on the nail. Slave trade. Ivan David Tooks, she said the same thing. Slave trade. Right? That's what we see here. Slave trade. See, that's going back again. They are playing chess while many of us are playing Connect 4. Again, they are rewriting history. They make sure whenever you hear about their history, whatever is deemed to be bad or offensive to other people, they make sure that they don't mention their involvement in it, even though they were heavily invested in it. So let's prove this here, right? You see this sign right here, family? You see this? This is an advertisement for this auctioning and selling of slaves. This is coming from South Carolina, Charleston. David and Cohen Diaz, right? So I know on the surface, some of you guys would say, well, how do we know that they're Jewish? Family, if you go back over and look at many of the advertisements for auctioning slaves, you'll see these names here. So you see, as you see at the top here, let me zoom in. Charleston, July 24th, 1769. To be sold on Thursday, the third day of August next, a cargo of 94 prime healthy Negroes consisting of 39 men, 15 boys, 24 women, and 16 girls just arrived in the Brigante Dembia, Francis Bear, you guys get it, Masters. So notice what they had that word, Masters, from Sierra Leone by David and John Diaz. But this is the names that I really want to highlight here. All right, so this is Charleston, South Carolina, July 24th, 1769. All right, so the Diaz brothers, guess what? They were a major player. They were major players in the trade, slave trade down in Charleston. And their activities were part of Charleston's central role in the transatlantic and domestic slave trade. So Charleston was a primary port of entry for enslaved Africans, for our ancestors, right? And markets and auctions houses facilitated the distribution of enslaved people throughout the southern United States. So here's a person here, Isaac DaCosta. Here's a prominent person from Charleston who you don't hear about when you see this sign over here. They don't talk about the slavery. Isaac DaCosta, a prominent Jewish merchant and community leader in Charleston. He was a community leader, family. Records confirm he owned enslaved peoples and engaged in economic activities reliant on slave labor. He auctioned slaves, owned slaves. So this is a source by a book called Jews and Judaism in the United States, a documentary history, Rabbi Mark Lee Raphael, 1983. This is, I'm not going to read all of it, family, but just to give you an idea of what he says. He is a rabbi. Jews also took an active part in the Dutch colonial slave trade. Indeed, by laws of Recife Mauritia congregations, including an aposta, in other words, Jewish tax of 5 soldos for each Negro slave a Brazilian Jew purchased. But let's fast forward here. It says here, as well as in the British colonies of Barbados and Jamaica in the 18th century, Jewish merchants played a major role in the slave trade. It goes on to say here, in fact, in all American colonies, whether French, British, Dutch, Jewish merchants frequently dominated. It goes on to say, look at what it says here, family. Let me skip this here. Yeah, let's go back here. Let's go just here a little bit. It says, I might as well read it. There was no less on the North American mainland. This was no less true on the North American mainland, where during the 18th century Jews participated in the triangular trade that brought slaves from West Africa to West Indies, and there exchanged them for molasses, which in turn was taken to New England and converted into rum for sale in Africa. Isaac DaCosta, make a note of that name. Look at this here, Charleston, this is South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, saying that he dominated in Charleston, South Carolina, 1750s. David Franks, these are not Israelites, these are actually name stealers. David Franks of Philadelphia, Aaron Lopez of Newport, these are people that dominated, as you see here, dominated Jewish slave trading on the American continent. Look at Isaac DaCosta, David Franks, Aaron Lopez. These are from that community. These 3 Jewish slave owners dominated the slave trade at their locations. Guess what? This article that I have here, they try to be very deceptive and trying to denounce that, but I'm not going to pick this article apart here. Excuse the typo here. I could pick this article apart, but I don't feel like doing it right now because of the sake of time. All right, so let's fast forward. They try to use different words to try to minimize it, right? But let's go back to the source. Isaac DaCosta, David Franks, Aaron Lopez, they dominated Jewish slave trading on the American continent. That's the point I want to really highlight there, pinpoint with this source here. It says here, played a significant role in the merchant capitalism, commercial revolution, and territorial expansions. Continue to say the Jewish Caribbean nexus provided Jews with the opportunity to claim a disproportionate influence in the 17th and 18th century. It goes on to say, Jewry, far outnumbering its co-religionists. Come on, fam, Sam, they dominated even the Abrahamic so-called faiths. They dominate, they had even more domination than them, according to, as you see this rabbi is pointing out. Groups of Jews began in Suriname in the middle of the 17th century. All right, let me see here. Do I want to continue here? All right. And this is a lot. It says Jews own 115 plantations, but it's so much, family, that we can pull out of here. like I said, the point that I just want to make sure that you guys see is they played a major role. Slave trading was a major feature of Jewish economic life. So this is key to the monies, their economics. All right. So this is the guy Aaron Lopez, who was a Ashkenaz. I mean, they call him a Sephardic Jew, but he still ties into the Europeans, because most of you guys don't understand or know that the so-called Sephardic Jews, they were still Europeans. They were the so-called Ashkenaz. Guess what? Or Scythians. They was all part of that community. As you notice, they started using the term Sephardic, and I believe to replace the term Moor, right? Because you know that there was Moorish Israelites, Moranos. Those are some of the terms that was actually used. But now you see this Sephardic term to kind of further push the whitewashing of our ancestors. But anyway, let me fast forward here, because this is a Jewish source that's further confirming that Aaron Lopez, right? He was what he says was the wealthiest man of Newport, Rhode Island. And this is giving proof to his number of vessels. Lopez was said to have had at least partially ownership of 30 transoceanic ships and more than 100 coastal vessels. So just so that way you guys can see with this source that they are confirming what I just mentioned. Now, these sources here just give you some kind of the manifest of many of the slave ships that he owned, many of the slaves that was actually on these ships. So I'm not going to read all of this for the sake of time, because I'm getting kind of tired here, but we'll do a more in-depth teaching on this, right? Just so that way you guys can understand. And he sold a lot of slaves. A lot of brutality occurred on these slave ships. I'm just scrolling through so you can see here. All right. And this is highlighting, look at this slave ship called Cleopatra. How come you don't hear the conscious community bringing that up? They'll talk about, oh, there's a slave ship by the good Jesus. But how come they don't talk about Cleopatra? And this name stealer owned a ship called Cleopatra. All right. So let's fast forward. I want to get to a key point. So Jewish merchants' names are found at the bottom of most auction flyers. That's the point I want to make. Here's some auction flyers here that I want to share with you guys. Notice some of the names. This right here. For sale, long cotton and rice. Then you see Negroes. Gang of 460 Negroes. Look at that. 460. This guy, Joseph Bryan, was also called Judah Bryan. Accustomed to the culture of rice and provisions, among who are a number of good merchants or mechanics, and house servants, will be sold on the 2nd and 3rd, of March next at Savannah by Joseph Bryan. So you see Joseph Bryan, that is a, you can spot him. That's dealing with the name stealers. Let's see some other ones here. Jacob Cohen. Let's see another one here. Jacob August. All right. And as we see here, Elijah Slack. I got more. Leah Menace. So Judah Cohen, better known as Jacob Cohen, was a prominent Jewish merchant in Charleston, South Carolina during the 19th century. He was actively involved in the slave trade, engaging in buying and selling of enslaved individuals or slave Negroes. Historical records indicate that on a single day in 1857, Cohen offered for sale, as we see, 125 rice Negroes, highlighting his significant role in this inhumane practice. But in the same year, Cohen collaborated with a non-Jewish partner to advertise the sale of 210 enslaved individuals in a single day. So we see how active he was. That's the point that I want to make. And if we go back to the one flyer I have here, I have some videos on that, but I want to go back to this one flyer that I highlighted here with these names. A gang of 460 Negroes. That's the point I want to highlight, from that community. And actually, I didn't include it here. There's articles, there's proof that it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that. I saw some here. Let me see if I have it here. I still had the article on my thing. I can't pull it up here. But this is an article that's titled, How a Grad Student Uncovered the Largest Known Slave Auction in the United States. And this one was over 600. It says a sale of 600 people will mark a grim new record by far. So I have to go further with this just to see the name here, but this is Charleston, South Carolina. This is Charleston. Is it a coincidence that they decided to call this area Little Jerusalem? Right? Just like when you look at Africa, when you had this section that was called Negro Land, even though we know Negro Land is not an actual location, it was called Negro Land, highlighting where to go to and find a high population of our people to enslave, and other groups, Negro groups, but primarily targeting our community. So family, I went a lot longer than what I had anticipated on doing. So I really appreciate you guys for the love and support. Thank you guys for all the contributions tonight. But I hope this helps you guys so you guys can actually see it's a lot deeper than what we can ever imagine as far as the games, the things that they have done and continue to do. We have to wake up, family. We have to wake up to the reality of understanding who they are, understanding that they are playing chess. Everything is calculated. I could take it a step further, which I will when we revisit this here, and I will show you the Messianic, or should I say the Masonic rather, component in this. And I'll share with you the Masonic component, them pushing the Kabbalah. I want to introduce some other areas to this discussion. So this is not going to be the last time I speak on it, but I wanted to give you guys some information and also encourage you guys and thank you guys for all the love and support. Israel, let's continue to be resilient. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Also, family, I want to encourage you guys, share the video. And even though we may end this video, I want to encourage you guys to continue the comments. Go into the comment section and just type a comment there on your thoughts about the lesson. Interact there, because that helps with what they call impressions. YouTube have this way of, with their algorithms, based upon the participation, based upon the likes, based upon the subscribers, based upon the interaction in the comment section, that determines on how far the algorithm will push that video. So your comments in the comment section will help tremendously to get this word out, so that way we can reach more people. But with that being said, family, really appreciate you guys for the love and support. Special shout outs for those that have pressed out to Charleston, South Carolina for the conference. So with that being said, in the words of the Most High Yahweh that he gave to Moses in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14, he said, "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, they will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you." But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. And according to the scriptures, when we say hold our peace, the Hebrew word there is charash, which means be quiet. Can't go back, can't stay here, keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back,
Genesis 14, verse 13. Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10,